Hello and welcome to the Cyber1 YouTube channel. My name is Ray, and in this video, InMoov Head i2, so version 2 Head part 10. We're going to continue with replacing parts, and we're up to mounting the base onto the neck. So before I mount the base on the neck, I'm going to grab this part. This is the gear drive. This servo, which mounts on top here, gets connected to that once it's passed through here. So let's pass that gear through first, and then we'll put it on the stand. Now, I showed in the last video that I'd received the camera, and this is actually the USB cable for that said camera. So I'm going to pass all these wires in preparation, like get them through in preparation for the next part going on. Cool. We have this ring that needs to go on as well. It's easier to do it at this stage, I found out the hard way. And I've got those holes to line up quite nicely. Now there's provision for 4 screws, but you only need 2. Okay, so that's in and locked on. And rotating the head, you'll see that gear drive turns with it now. Alright, so this is the right eye assembly, less half the components. And I have over here the left eye assembly. Left eye assembly is still all intact. But what's most important about this one is the camera. So I've given this a cleaner and installed the camera in it. I've also given this a spray paint using my airbrush kit, and I have got a video of the unboxing of that kit. It's quite messy when I'm using it. Now there is a component you can get from the CyberSyntech website, GitHub, which allows you to mount these eyeballs onto a part that will go into your drill. I actually printed that out a long time ago now using the basic resin, and I've discovered that the basic resin is brittle and I've managed to break it. I do have another one currently printing, but it's not yet finished printing. With a bit of luck I can show you in another video. That with the camera pushed in, and it doesn't need hard securing, it just needs to be pushed in. We can now poke this wire through the slit at the bottom of the eye attach mechanism, and that pokes out the bottom. There's a little groove there, and in the bottom of the eyeball there's a little ridge here which lines up with this groove, and we just push it back on. And that seems to be working quite nicely. And I think from memory, this wire, flexible ribbon, needs to come up through on this side. And we'll see what that's all about a little bit later on. Right, so the eyelids need to go on next. They will go with, when you look at it, you'll see there's an extra hole on one side only. That's the side that gets the drive. The ridge part is on the outside, and the two very thin parts, the eyelid, meet together in the middle, and they pivot around the central pivot. So let's start to put that in. Didn't quite get that all the way in yet. Now, if you're wondering about the color I use for the eyeball, it's called metallic white. I actually quite like it. It's got that metallic look to it, while being my eyeball white color. Okay, so next is the two screws that hold the two push arms in. Right, let's just fit that to the head. Now, in this base there is this slot, and that lines up with this servo here. So we need to fit that servo into that slot, and that'll mean that the two holes in this little part of the arm, or the base that stick out, will line up with these two, and these two at the back will line up with these two. Now I'm planning on running my wires up here so that it takes a shorter path. Now between now and the last video and now, I actually put on these little labels. So these are get it up close enough to the camera. So these are a printed label that are heat shrunk on. So they print on the heat shrink tube and then print off. I did do a review on the printer that does that some time back. It's just I'm trying to think of the name of the printer now. Dynamo. It's a Dynamo brand printer. That looks pretty good. All the holes appear to line up. Feels better than last time. Next part is the other eye. Now, while I've had it apart, I also painted the other eyeball, and it's the same metallic white. I think it looks reasonably good, and I've used hot melt glue to fix the iris in both of the eyelids, or both of the eyeballs I should say. In an attempt to try and improve on the wiring side of it, I did drill a hole through diagonally and put a cable tie in to try and fix it. I may yet do it the same on the other one. We'll see how this all works out and better, and I'll duplicate it. Now these labels I've put on help. This one is pin 1, upper lip, and I've got pin 2 and pin 3, right cheek and left cheek. So having them labelled and what they're for does help a great deal when you're trying to figure out what all the wires are for. And that cable tie is going to be a problem. You can see there, it's hard up against here, so I'm not going to be able to leave that there. It is in tight there, so that's why it won't fit. Okay, the next part we need to put on is going to be the back, which is this part. Now, I have currently already attached the two ear magnet pieces. Now these aren't the original pieces that I had in last time. I accidentally dropped this piece and broke one of these, so I've reprinted these both pieces after reprinting them using ABS like resin. I drilled a hole straight through. Makes it easier to push the magnets out if I need to while I'm testing, make sure the size fits. And then once I was happy I'd cleaned out the holes enough using a big pointy wood drill, I then set magnets in there and painted over with the resin and cured, and I repeated that for both sides. So that should hold the magnets in better than it did last time. But let's get this on. I'm going to bring the USB out this side and all the other wires out this side, and that'll be the reason for that will become apparent a bit later. Okay, so next we've got this servo which needs to connect up into here, and then we have the skull upper support. This is where it gets to be fun. That needs to go in underneath there, so might just lift that up a bit. Hook this wire all the way through. Ah, damn, that's broken. Alright, I'm going to have to pull that off and glue that up before I go any further, because I will need to UV treat it, and it's going to be easier to do it when it's not on the head, and then put the rest back together. That is somewhat disappointing. This is actually the PCB that comes with the camera that's now in the eye, and that camera wire is this one, and it will plug into here. Bit hard with that bit of plastic floating around where it is. And then the top snaps down to hold it in place. So I'll disconnect that again, I'll pull that off and glue. Use resin as a glue, UV cure it, and get back to this stage. Now I was having trouble just lining up the screw holes at the front. They are there. I was just having trouble getting them in, but at the moment I think I'll do that repair and I'll come back. I did find this part knocked off the table. I suspect a cat has done that. But yeah, I'll fix that up now. Okay, with a little bit of movie magic, I've managed to repair that brake just in there. Because I'm using resin, it's easy to just paint the part with resin and then expose it to UV light, and that sets it together like a glue. Very easy to do, and if I was smart I wouldn't have put that board back on just yet, because I want to bring my wires up through there. So just pull that screw out. Now this little tiny screw is a 1.7 mm soft tapping screw. Some time back I bought this little kit off eBay, and it has a range of sizes. That one is 1.7 by 6 mm long, and there was 100 pieces in this box when I got it. It goes all the way down to 1.2 mm. sorry, 1mm by 3 or M1 by 3mm long. So it's not a bad little kit. There's a lot of screws in there and they're all very small, and I tend to use a magnifying glass when I'm playing with them. Need to do the back one. I can now bring these wires all through. That will explain a little bit. That's the ribbon for the camera. Okay, now we can hook up this camera wire. And that was easy. Now this USB cable, it's got a little bit of length on it. Bring that over this way a bit. And that's in. Okay, let's start getting some of the other wires hooked up. So the green wire was ground. Okay, so this one's not labelled. It's actually the servo to rotate the head. And this is the servo connector for the extension wire that comes down to the bottom of the neck. And I'll use that later when I'm hooking it up onto the robot itself. And so far so good. Right, so that leaves this part. It's going to get some new eyebrows and the jaw. So I might actually do the jaw now. So it's going to slip up from underneath and goes over and onto the pin 0. That's going to make for an interesting job. How about I plug it in the right way? That's misaligned. So poke the screwdriver up from the bottom to get onto the screw, onto the servo, and we can undo that. That allows me to pull the horn off. Now I can connect the crossbar up and do the same on the other side. I think it might be time to put the screws in. That's better. Now I need to reposition that. It's much better. I will need to retune that one when I put it all back together and connect it up. Now, before I get too carried away, I've got one more screw to put in. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet. I really don't want to disassemble half the back end to do it, but I might have to. But I have got one screw, wherever it's gone. it is. I have got this one screw which has to go back up through that middle drive gear that's connected to the servo. I probably should have put that in before I put the top or screwed everything down properly. See if I can rotate it around enough. I need to do that collar. Alright, this video's gone on for quite a while already, so I might do that one off camera and then continue on. I'll have to put those two pieces back on and then move on to the forehead with the eyebrow. So that needs an upgrade, and then that gets mounted to front here. What I will show you though, before I end this one, I did drill a hole through the middle, which is something I said I was contemplating doing. That's a 9.5mm hole. It was big enough for the connectors to get through. And then I've arranged these in the order based on the labeling, and put some heat shrink around so it becomes a single block that just plugs in up the end there. So that'll be a nice easy one to fit off once I replace those two parts. To see the video when that comes out, don't forget to click on like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. It's a form of support that helps the channel a great deal and costs you absolutely nothing. If you'd like to support the channel further, I do have YouTube membership, and I also have a Patreon account, and you can join my patrons: VIP Go Lucky, All Access Patron Jeff Gerd, my Builder patrons El Morales 45, Andrew Cardone, and Havish in supporting the channel. If you've got any questions, leave a comment below or drop into the Discord. I'll leave the links for my Discord, the InMoov official Discord, and the MyRobotLab Discord. If you've got any questions, ask in any of those, and there's a lot of good people out there who'd be willing to help you out. And we'll see you in the next video.